Hello, welcome to another recap from Hello Reality, the podcast that nurtures
Hello,
the flame of fairness and integrity. That's right. Joseph, how are you doing today, man?
Eric. I'm doing incredible. I'm doing fine. I don't know about incredible. I should have stuck with that, but I'm doing fine. I'm going on a trip to New York next week. We got some fun stuff planned, so it should be a good time.
Awesome.
And I'm sad that Real World Homecoming is coming to an end as the penultimate episode dropped today. And it was a good episode, I thought. And it's always good watching the challenge and Real World Homecoming together on the same day on Wednesday morning. It's my Wednesday morning treat.
It's your version of like Saturday morning cartoons, except like for adults. Wednesday
Yes,
morning MTV nostalgia.
broken relationships, people fighting. Those are the things that bring me comfort early in the morning.
Hey, speaking of broken relationships, we got some things to talk about this episode. I'm talking, of course, about the bombshell that Beth dropped as she went out. Um, I I don't know how to wrap my mind around the person that is Beth. She brings so much entertainment, so much intrigue to the show, and then she goes and quits like left and right, nonstop, seemingly. And you know what? I'm over it. I'm ready for an end, simply because too many quits goes against the core of the show, and that's my main takeaway from this episode. What do you think?
I texted you the same thing. I'm over it with these quitters, with them bringing back people who are proven quitters. And we've seen some people, I guess, slightly redeem themselves, like when Big Easy didn't quit when he was on All Stars, but really wanted to during the final. And then, Tina came back this season and broke her hand, so she didn't get the chance to quit. And then Beth just quitting again. Similar scenario to, I believe it was the Gauntlet 2, where she was supposed to go against Anissa in a physical elimination. Obviously, Anissa had the edge on her in that type of competition, and she quits. Same thing here. Jonna had the edge in the competition. She quits. And that's what happens when Beth faces adversity. She quits.
That's a good summary. It's weird how every time she quits, it's when she's about to lose, seemingly. It's the same story
Yeah.
every time. And you're right. It's
Ah, I
exactly
wonder. Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
Gauntlet 2.
And I do think she had a point with what she was saying. I actually do think they should look into that and be like, hey, you're not allowed to tell people what to do in the elimination. I do think we've seen that, not in just this elimination, but in other ones before. People just having a massive advantage because of this. And I just don't think it should be a part of the game at all. So I do agree with her on that front.
Yeah, we're coming from a point of view of like wanting fair games and integrity and all that. Like, yes, of course, nurturing the flame of fairness, but I don't think the MTV wants that. I think they
Always.
want big reactions and people yelling and screaming at each other. So good luck barking up that tree, dude. Don't think anything's gonna
That's a good
change.
point.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
Other big
But does
takeaway.
it really? Do you think it makes for better TV ultimately?
I mean, a little bit. It's look. I played tennis growing up. Tennis matches as a kid suck, dude. Because like you're not allowed to so much as whisper at the players while the match is going on. Like there's that whole etiquette thing. I hate it. I think it's way more fun when you get people like cheering and screaming and yelling, and getting really into the sporting event. So I do think it's a little better for television. But yeah, like. It does leave kind of a bad taste in your mouth. However, you could argue that maybe Beth shouldn't make everyone hate her. So maybe someone would help her out, and then it'd be kind of more even. Because usually, like some people are helping each party, right?
It just sucks that like both the daily and the elimination in some ways came down to how many friends you have. So
We're gonna talk about that. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that because I agree. I don't think these made for great TV. Really, the elimination a little bit better than the daily. The daily, man, I get what they're going for, trying to expose alliances. I guess it just doesn't work at all. Like, what a boring competition. But before we get to that, the other main takeaway: West versus Yes, dude. How have we gone like 5 minutes without
Woo!
talking about this? It finally came to a head,
Yes.
and it was good versus evil, and I'm still not sure which one was which.
Yeah, I was left puzzled myself. Yes, like kind of left me with a weird taste in my mouth this season. Came off a bit more self-righteous and just had this hate boner for Wes that seemingly came out of nowhere. I mean, I know that Wes was using the sabotage, but that was a function of the game. He has to use it on somebody. So I do like though that we've got to see two people who genuinely dislike each other go against each other. I feel like
Yep.
that rarely happens where you see two enemies actually going against each other. We had that whole season with Kyle and Paulie on War of the Worlds talking about, hey, I'm going to go in against you. I'm going to go in against you. Never coming to fruition. So it was nice to see that actually be executed. Maybe would have rather had a different elimination, but it is what it is.
That was my favorite thing about it too. The fact that they genuinely really don't like each other, seemingly out of nowhere. Dude, Yes played a completely different game than he did in All Stars 1, where he won. I felt like in All Stars 1, he made friends, he was nice to people, he didn't make any enemies. Here, he created an enemy seemingly out of thin air. Like, I don't think Wes did anything to start this, really. It seemed like it was all Yes, just really hating on the way Wes played. And there was that whole issue with him texting before the season started.
Yes.
Not good gameplay, you know? I think he really went down in his gameplay this season.
I agree. And I remember thinking to myself during the daily, I'm like, man, are they really just going to let Yes like slip to the end again? And had it not been for this one vendetta with Wes, where Wes is in the position where he gets to call somebody out, he might still be in the game.
It's possible. It's possible. He probably isn't the worst person to go against in elimination, though. He might have gone either way. Who knows, you know? But in any case,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah. You know who did slip through another week? Jordan. Somehow.
Yes.
Somehow, some way.
I think he's good for a while now with like the way this system works with the twist now with like you get to pick out who you're going against. Like I guess like if you saw something and you're Mark Long or something like that and you're like, okay, this looks pretty physical, not going to be able to take Jordan in the final. Let's rip off this Band-Aid. I could see that. But other than that, it seems like he might be good.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I think what a commentator is trying to say is yes, more like no. But I'm not going to put the comment on the screen because there'll be a few typos in there. Which reminds me, Joseph, if you're listening to our podcast, if you're listening to our podcast, we are live on YouTube at Hello Reality. Please like and subscribe. It would mean a lot, putting a lot of effort into this, trying to do something fun here. So if you're listening, enjoying this, check us out and do us a favor if you don't mind subscribing and or liking. Thank you. Are you ready to get into the episode itself?
Yes.
I'm ready to, man. I'm ready to complain, dude. I have a lot of things that I did not enjoy about this episode. We already talked about a few of them. I can feel it. I can feel the juices in me flowing that are boiling up with rage at an invisible production team that I'm never going to get in front of. And this is my outlet. And this is the episode that I think it's all going to come out. So I hope it's not just me.
No, you're definitely not yelling into an empty void. I don't.
Yes, think. You too. Okay, yeah. Join me in this, or tell me if I'm going a little too crazy.
So we get the setup at the beginning again. Treehouse is ruling the roost. We have a conversation with Kellyanne and Beth, where Kellyanne's like, "Look, don't have many numbers left. I gotta go with Beth here." And it seems like that should be the strategy for these four women: and Naya, Beth, Kellyanne, and Jonna. Hey, let's go against the Treehouse. Seems pretty straightforward.
You would think.
Yes.
That would make sense in theory, right? But as we will see this episode, that won't exactly work out. Even though the Treehouse is a known commodity, still not enough because of none other than Hurricane Beth coming in. But yeah, this ultimately ends up going nowhere, but it did make sense to see Beth and Kellyanne talking at the start of this episode. They're like, hey, we're not really friends, but like, look, it's the Treehouse versus us. And the Treehouse seemingly here to stay for the rest of the season, dude. I don't know how I feel about that, but they're certainly dominating.
Yeah, I think you're definitely in the majority opinion, it seems like. Seems like I'm in the minority. I don't think anybody is really liking the Treehouse right now. I'm not sure if that's just because anytime there's an underdog, you're going to root for them type of thing, and they seem to not be the underdogs. So,
but you are rooting for them. You liking them, you're saying?
I think they're fine. Yeah, I think they're funny. I think they're playing a good game. Now, would I be upset if one of them left? Like, no, because like it's always fun when something unexpected happens and the majority alliance gets broken up. But I don't see I don't see why people dislike them so outrightly, I guess.
Yeah, I'll kind of agree with you there. I don't totally dislike them outright, I guess. They're just like whatever. You know, they're a majority alliance and they do nothing for me, and that is enough for me to root against. It doesn't take much. Look, it doesn't take much for me to root against you, really, and that's enough for me, and I guess most other people.
And then we see Wes basically start to, foreshadowing into the challenge, all the men working together. He's trying to round up numbers and make sure that he is in with everybody as always.
Yeah, I don't have a visual for this, but I thought this was kind of cool. He's like, "Hey, remember when I was telling you about this Jordan guy? I was right once again. And if you guys didn't believe me, he's that scary in this game, so watch out for him." And now it seems like another alliance kind of out of necessity is coming up that involves what? Brad, Derek, Mark, Nehemiah, and Wes, right? And they're going after
whether any of them like it or not.
Yeah, I didn't think this was going to stick at all when I saw this.
Me
By the
neither,
way,
yeah.
were you shocked that like they actually went through this plan for the most part in the daily?
I wasn't shocked necessarily. I just guess I was a little surprised by Derek, but he'll go along with anything. But like I think that it makes sense because like they know that they need to get rid of Jordan. They know they need to get rid of Yes. MJ is already kind of odd man out because he keeps getting the sabotage, and it's just easy to keep piling it on him. So they're kind of natural enemies, I feel like, at this point, and by that extension, Wes is their natural ally.
Yeah, it does make sense. He's kind of sliding in that role, dude. I didn't think Wes was going to do this well this season, especially after the first episode or two. But now he's seemingly in a great position. So
yeah, I do think I do think he is somebody who's very at risk to get called in. But
yeah, as we saw today, basically. I'm a hater. Yes, I'm just going to leave that comment up on the screen. You're right. It gives me pleasure to watch these shows and really just hate on people for almost no reason. Are you ready to get to the challenge?
Hey, now we're both haters.
That's true.
Yeah. So
very rude of you to exclude Joseph. We're both haters. Yes. Please, just because one of us is hating more at the moment.
Yeah. Professional ring toss. This was great. Okay, I can't even be sarcastic. This was not great. We always hate, I think, when the challenges can be won by just teaming up on people. There's been plenty of challenges like this in the past. I remember Battle Seasons had a bunch of them. This is never fun, just seeing the majority alliance be able to game the daily. And Wes comes up with this. Though I like seeing the strategy and stuff like that, it's smart on their part. You know what I mean? They're going to do what they do, but the producers know this is going to happen, and do they think it makes for good TV? Because like it really doesn't. Like,
no, it does not. It does not. Look, and like I was saying in the beginning, I think what they're going for is the classic coconut chop from Survivor Marquesas challenge that really did a great job of exposing where people's loyalties truly lied in the game. It just never works out that way. We just get this boring ass challenge where the players decide who wins, and then they like play it out like a bunch of like marionettes out there like doing their job. And not only that, but this wasn't even a fun challenge to watch them do that. It's not like they were like fighting or brawling and they were forced to take a dive against each other. It's literally ring toss. It's called sidetracked. It should have been simply called a ring toss, okay? Because that's all it was. This is easily the worst challenge since that time they did one math problem, Joseph.
Yeah, it's only getting better and better with the All Stars dailies. As we can see. And yeah, if you're going to do a challenge like this where like the people's say kind of matters or whatever, there has to be a chance that the minority has a chance at winning the challenge. And if they have no chance, then that does not make for exciting television. And there was like no chance that Jordan could, even through his own athleticism, like overcome like just everybody going after him essentially.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter how fast Jordan is, which is really yeah.
Eric just pulled up a screenshot for our podcast listeners of Jordan when he's talking about going fast as fuck, and he's doing this very funny face.
Took me a
pretty
few
good.
tries to get that screenshot right. Yeah, it doesn't matter how
Yeah. Oh, very
fast Jordan is.
unflattering. Very unflattering.
Yeah, with apologies to Jordan for this screenshot. It was a really funny confessional, though. That's why I wanted to bring this up. Yeah, I agree with you, by the way. There should be some amount of intrigue, some amount of physicality to it, or some amount of like comeback potential, and there's just none here. They're just running around, tossing rings. So, boring ass challenge. You know what else I didn't like about it? Because I'm on a roll now. This little staged moment between MJ and Brad, where Brad ceremoniously takes his ring and puts it on MJ's thing while he's just simply standing there. And then MJ takes a step towards Brad and gets all in his face and just gives him a tough look. It's like, dude, why are we doing
Yeah.
this? Why are we doing this? What's the point of this?
You think the producers like told him to do that or what?
Yes, I do think that. I don't think MJ was just like, hey, can I go stand over there and look menacingly at Brad? That'll look really cool. Like, I want to go do that. I think it was a stage shot, and I think it was dumb. That's what I think. But
I don't know. I could see like him doing that and like trying to like look tough for TV. I don't know.
maybe I'm giving him too much credit. I don't know. Okay.
So this so Wes comes up, or I think they all really come up with it, a plan to throw the challenge to Mark. Everybody's like, we're not going to throw rings on your thing, and you're going to win the challenge. You're going to make the decision. I think this was a good decision on everyone's part. Mark Long is one of the most rational, even killed people. I feel like he knows that, I got to send in Jordan or someone like that, unless told otherwise by Wes. But yeah, I think this was a good decision. I don't know where Brad was in on this. He seemingly had no idea about it, even though he was right there. And he didn't seemingly have a problem with it until maybe he was a little close to winning. And I hated the way they edited like the whole daily of like try to make it suspenseful that Brad was going to do something to like screw up the plan, and then it never amounted to anything. Like Mark just like won the challenge. I was like, that's how you know this is a boring fucking challenge, if you have to like create this whole fake tease narrative the whole time and have it not be fruitful at all.
Yeah, there's no intrigue at all. This is an interesting point, though. Brad was really upset throughout this whole episode. Throughout this whole episode, he was really annoyed, dude. He just did not like this plan at all, and I feel like this probably came after he realized that MJ was probably going to pick him, and then he suddenly was like, oh wait, no, I don't like this plan that much anymore,
that guy's huge.
What do you think? Is Brad justified in his frustration with this plan, or is he kind of being a bit of a baby about it, and where you should have just said like, yeah, okay, I guess it's my turn to go in because MJ hates me and I used to sabotage on him twice?
Yeah, definitely the latter. I thought he was being a huge baby. It seemed like it didn't bother him until number one, he realized he was very close to winning the challenge. And then he said afterwards to Wes later on in that conversation that they had that like he would have won the challenge had they not had that plan in place, which you don't fucking know that. Like, I don't know where you're pulling that from.
Yeah,
just because you were close in the challenge where they had the coup. Like, you think you would have won without it? I don't know. And then he didn't ask Wes to like put himself in, but he's like trying to guilt him because like Brad has been like tanking his game to help Wes. But what has Brad really done? Has it really affected Brad at all? The reason that MJ's mad at Brad is because Brad keeps using the sabotage on him.
Yeah. I think Brad did a really good job of getting out of the elimination here, but there's reasoning, the way he went about it. I mean, I wouldn't have dove in front of that bullet.
It worked out for him because it was so it was such like an irrational point of view to come from. I thought Wes was gonna be like, tough titties, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Sucks to suck. Like, I don't know what you want.
Like, hey, it's your turn this week, and then next time when we make Yes go in, he's gonna pick me. Like, what do you want from me? Like, I think he just delayed his going into elimination against MJ. Honestly, I think that's my bet as to what's going to happen. Here's a question though. We've been very negative, of course, as we always are. Can we balance that out a little bit? Is there anything you liked about this challenge?
No. I did like that it was competitive at the end between the girls. I thought that was slightly interesting, but then I realized I was watching people compete in ring toss, and that's still not that exciting.
That'll dampen their spirit.
And I thought it was interesting when Roni said when they won the challenge that they were going to turn the house upside down. Seems like they're just maintaining the status quo. I don't know if they're turning things upside down.
She's on top right now, so why would she want to turn the house upside down? Like, that's going to send her going to the bottom, if anything, right? Like, why? This is the opposite of
all
that.
The furniture falls on you.
Whoa, I'm going to throw in Beth. Oh, whoa, crazy. Whoa. Yeah. I don't know what that
Isn't it crazy how good Roni's doing, by the way, or Ronnie's doing? Isn't it crazy? Like, she just, like, roomed in the right room.
Shit, I was going to ask you if that was how you pronounce her name. I should know this. I think it's Ronnie, though. I'm pretty sure they've been saying Ronnie. We should fact check this. She's been doing great. She got herself in the right room. Look, the room matters, man. If there's anything we learned this season, it's like you got to get in the right room or get in a different room than your number one ally, like Jonna and Jemmy did earlier in the season, as they talked about on Twitter. Whatever the case, your room's important. So let that be a lesson to you, Joseph, if you ever go on the challenge.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
You know what I like?
That'll be the thing I worry about the most. Not working out and trying to gain weight and trying to be in physical condition.
Honestly, don't bother.
To compete against Jay Mitchell.
You know what you should do is just practice your ring toss game, maybe your shuffleboarding skills, perhaps your algebra, not even algebra, sorry, your basic math functions. What algebra? Get out of here. That's for final. That's advanced math. Okay. You know what I liked about this challenge? I like that Wes's rings were orange. That's what I liked about it.
Yeah,
I thought that was a nice touch. It's a nice touch.
Was there anything they could have done to improve this challenge?
The thing they could have done to improve the challenge is obviously someone needed to veto it and have a better challenge in its place.
So Mark,
it's a good question. I don't know. Like there needs to be some physical component to it too, or something. Like maybe there's a balance beam that they have to run across, and they have to go across at the same time as someone else, and like the loser has to go restart the whole course. Make it like at least somewhat physically competitive. Again, we need that comeback potential for the minority players in this game, and there wasn't that there. That's the best I got. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Let's move on. Okay.
We
can't fix this. Who are we kidding?
Yeah. Maybe they have to get their rings first. Like, you get your rings, right? So Eric has his rings that people are going to throw on his whatever, right? And at the beginning of the challenge, they're like, you take your rings and you run out as far as you can within 2 minutes and you hide them. Or you bury them.
Okay. Yeah. No, I don't hate that.
And then if Jordan, like, if everyone's targeting him, that's fine, but they have to run really far, and you can only get one at a time.
Okay. Let's think about this. I like that. I like anything more than this challenge. So it's not really saying much, but I do like that more than this challenge. Is there anything interesting to talk about whatsoever on the girl side of this?
No.
Okay, great. So
I think this was the impetus behind Beth hating Jonna. Jonna threw the ring on her thing, and that was enough for Beth to try to ruin her family life. Not that Jonna did herself any favors in that department, seemingly.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that and how convincing they were. In my notes, I wrote down Sylvia wins, okay, and then it's the party. So, Joseph,
did you like Cynthia's confessional about her mom?
It was good. Yeah, it was good. Okay, that's a good call out. Yeah, there's only one person Sylvia's afraid of. She's 5'1". Her name's I forget, and she's my mom. That was good.
Yvonne, I think. I don't know if they needed the picture. I don't know if they needed that. It was kind of like very like what's the word? Overexposed, like the lighting. Anyway.
We're back to being critical. Now it's the photo quality. I like the idea of the producers reaching out to
I'm such a hater, just like Eric.
I'm rubbing off on you, man. I'm sorry. Let's go to the party, though. This is going to be fun. So, the party. Here's the dance floor. This looks like any party that I attend because I try to avoid the dance floor at all costs. I would have fit in really well here.
Just sitting and talking and not dancing with anyone.
Yeah, I'm just like trying to become as flat with the wall as far away from the dance floor as possible.
I think there's actually a picture of when I recently invited a bunch of people to have a party at my house.
You're right. That's where I got this from. This actually isn't from the episode. This is a party. Yeah, it looks one of the best parties we've ever seen. And here's the funny part. It actually was probably the best party scene that we'll get this episode because of course, the drama, that Beth brought. We talked about this at the end of last episode. There's this rumor that's been going around if you've been living under a rock, or if you're just tuning into the show this week or whatever. MJ and Jonna, winners of last season, did they cheat on each other? Allegedly. We don't know. Allegedly. We would allegedly maybe guess that maybe they did, allegedly, but we're not really sure. We would never say or mouth anything to, definitive in this situation. Joseph, you're more of like the gossip queen among the two of us. Catch us up on the situation.
Thank you for that illustrious title.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so it's been like circulating. I guess he's right, unfortunately, but I'm about to explain it all. It's been circulating since All Stars 2 that people, I think Pink Rose, who was the spoiler, I might be getting it confused with somebody else, but like they were like, hey, there's been some couples who've been cheating on each other this show. One of them mentioned was Jonna and MJ. So that has been a rumor going on in spoiler community. Spoiler community has been wrong before. They're not right about everything. This was a pretty huge thing to put out there. And I feel like when you look at the eye tests and watching both seasons and seeing some of the things Jonna says about how mad she gets at people for voting in MJ, using the sabotage on MJ. Yeah. She told Kendall at one point that she would rather Kendall use it on her than use it on MJ. It just seems like a lot. We have people in the house like Veronica and Yes who are really close. We had people like Kendall and Darrell. We've never thought anything like that between those people. And to be fair, there haven't been rumors about them doing that type of stuff either. So maybe that's why we're predisposed to thinking that way. But I don't know. It just does not look good.
Here's a question for you. How often do you play with or braid a platonic female friend's hair while lying down, or vice versa? How often do you do that?
Well, women don't like touching me, Eric, but when they do, I don't. And they're platonic friends of mine. We'll like do stuff like that, but like they don't have boyfriends or like what I'm saying or anything like that. Like those female friends of mine, like they don't have boyfriends and I don't have a girlfriend, so it's fine. But I do think it's different when you have a significant other. I feel like those things are exclusive to that person. So.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, not saying there's anything wrong with that by any means. It's like you said, the eye test. I would go so far as to say it seems pretty weird. Seems pretty weird everything we've been seeing, and that's just what we're seeing on camera this season that they've decided to put in the show.
Also, to go back to the rumors again, there was a thing during All Stars 2 where she took down all the photos of her husband and then put them back up on Instagram. Fans were pointing this out and stuff like that. So there was just a lot of little things that people put together.
Glad you brought that
up.
Are they
doing something?
This is why you're on the podcast.
Are they doing something? Are they doing something? Yeah, that's not great.
Sorry.
Like she didn't take them down for no reason. Now, they might be telling the truth in the confessional in the sense of like, we're not having an affair now.
That's
like,
what I was going to say.
Okay, I'm sorry if I took your thunder.
No, not at all.
I there might be something there with that where it's like now her and her husband are back together and maybe they've worked stuff out, whatever happened would happen, but like nothing's going on now with MJ. Maybe that's the case. Is that to say that there's never been anything? I don't know.
Yeah.
Someone fact checked me on this as well, but I believe Jonna cheated with her boyfriend on Battle of the Seasons back in the day, who she was living with Zach. After a couple days, Zach's the biggest guy in the house. MJ's the biggest guy in the house. It's just a lot.
I can confirm that I did see some comment on Reddit one time that said that Jonna has cheated on her boyfriends in the past. So verified, true fact. Got you covered there.
Yeah,
that's sarcastic. Everything's allegedly. We claim nothing. That's a good point. I was gonna say too. The phrasing I think is actually important. I'm vaguely interested in psychology and lying and all that. Once I might have studied deception when I thought I might be going on a reality TV show at one point. I think that the phrasing is so important here, and they both said the exact same thing. We're not having an affair currently. Like you said, they didn't say anything. They didn't say we never cheated on each other. They're never unequivocal.
I would never do that to my husband. That's ridiculous. Yep. Like MJ never said I would never do that to somebody, and like, and the fact that they both said the same thing, does that not seem calculated? That they were like, that they were both like, hey, this is what we're gonna say. We're both gonna say, because I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like,
super weird. Super weird. Yeah, I think there's something to that. I think that sometimes people, when they lie, they try to say things a special way to make it so that they're not technically lying, and sometimes they do it subconsciously. I would bet this is one of those times. I think that this is an intentional thing. The real question is, why does Beth bring this up out of nowhere when talking to the people in power?
And this is like my problem with Beth, is that she's trying to make it seem like she's doing it in like a, I'm sure if she were to explain why she brought it up, she'd be like, well, that's not right that Jonna did that and blah, 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 which might be true and, you know, is true if it's, you know, if she did that. Mm-hmm. But she did it because Jonna was going against her in the game. She brought it up because of gameplay reasons, because I'm sure she thought going into the game, hey, I was on All-Stars 1 with Jonna and Jemmy and them. Like, it's going to be all be good. And then when Jonna turned her back on her, threw the ring on her, that's when it seemed like it was no holds bars.
Yeah, maybe she's just lashing out. She did say she was kind of lashing out, trying to stir up shit. It's definitely calculated, I would have to imagine. And
Mark and Sylvia's response, by the way, also very telling. Neither of them was like, that didn't happen. Like no, they're that. Like, and
it's a good point. It's a good point.
You're putting all the pieces together.
Anyone want to weigh in? Anyone listening? It looks like we got several people watching this live. Anyone has any comments?
Sorry,
anything we're missing?
I'm not looking
please
at the comments.
Please comment. It's okay. You're not missing anything right now. Okay. You know, appreciate everyone watching right now. Not enough to comment on the situation. Maybe they know less than we do. It's very possible, but I'm just curious if there's anything we're missing. In any case, though, right now, it's more than one, Joseph, in less than 100. Okay.
2 people, nice. All right, so
three.
Oh, cool. That's more than I thought.
I know, right? Okay, let's move on though. There's only so much we can say about this, right?
Yes.
Oh, I will say one more thing though. You know who's the big winner? Obviously, the treehouse. Getting 2 people outside the treehouse to go after each other. They're probably like, "Thanks, Beth. I guess you know you go make this elimination all about you and Jonna, and we're just gonna chill in the treehouse with Derek."
Yeah. I guess I understand it from Jonna's perspective. There's things like more important than the game, obviously. And maybe she felt like she needed to do this to Beth. And maybe she thought the girls were going to pick Beth anyway, and Beth's going to pick Jonna. Also didn't make any sense, Beth going after Jonna, too. Maybe what Beth should have done has been like, hey, Jonna, I'm going to tell them I'm going after you as like a ploy. And then they're going to, you know what I'm saying? And then I can just say whomever. That would have been a plan.
That would be the level of strategic thinking that has not been seen on the challenge since ever. So yeah, that would be interesting. That would be interesting if that ever happened. Yeah. It feels like they really need to go after the treehouse and team up, but like, of course, now it didn't happen, and it's probably too late at this point. I think the best they're going to hope for is one in the treehouse and one outside the treehouse going into elimination at this point in the game.
Yeah, that's about the best you can hope for. Can't really get both of them in the elimination now that the rules have changed. So in some ways it hurts the majority alliance. In some ways it helps them because they can never get sent in against each other unless they choose so.
Yeah. We should talk about that.
It will be interesting if it gets to a point where they have to choose between each other. That would be interesting.
It would. Let me backtrack 1 second. Unicarnival, again, Masters in Sight can confirm is sketch. I believe talking about the rumors. Yeah, so wow, we got confirmation. Thank you for that. But now it's official, locked in. Everything we say in this podcast, confirmed.
I don't have close to a Masters in anything.
No, Master of none, nothing. Yeah. And then, the rule change. We kind of glossed over that. I meant to talk about it, and I didn't. Let's touch on it real quick now. That's important. Yeah, authority 6 no longer, down to just 2, and now there's no more loser goes in. which, I generally like the concept, but not when they're games like this or math problems or like random shit. So I guess I don't care about that too much. Now it's just the winner picks someone who goes in, and then they choose their elimination opponent. Thoughts?
I don't think I think the community as a whole really likes the idea of people picking in who they're going to go against. And while on paper, I think it sounds cool, I don't think it always works out that good, actually. We saw in this episode that there were some ho-hum decisions made because of it. And I think generally speaking, you're just going to pick the weakest person. And I don't know if that always makes for good TV.
Okay. I think it's not necessarily the case. I mean, it depends on how big someone's survival instincts are. I do think the challenge is a show with a lot of like lifelong loyalties where people might like not necessarily do that, or grudges like we saw tonight, where they might prioritize like, hey, I really need to get this person out. People make emotional decisions in the challenge all the time. I'm actually not that worried that we're only going to see like someone pick the weakest to go in. And even if we do, should lead to a stronger final in the end. So I like this format just fine, I think it's a fine format, and it makes it so that if there is a majority alliance, maybe that one of them can at least go in each week, and that they can't feel too safe, and they have to play the game and try to not get picked in elimination, and they can't just coast through by winning all the authorities.
Yeah. I also just think that last place should just keep going in.
Speaking of which, I do like the last place going in format, but like, look, let's see how this plays out. Right now, I will cautiously say this is a pro. This is a good thing this episode, for me, at least. I like it. We had to shrink the authorities somehow, and they're mixing it up and giving us a little bit of this, a little bit of that this season. Either way, this is loads better than some formats that we've seen in the show recently, I think. Cough, cough, spies,
sure.
allies, and allies.
Not saying much, but yeah. So we get this conversation with Mark and Sylvia. Pretty much a nothing burger. They were both just like, hey, Wes volunteered to go in. Jonna volunteered to go in. Seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
I guess we should talk about more of that conversation between Brad and Wes.
Yeah,
I didn't really get into it in full detail.
I apologize. I got my pictures out of order, so that's on me. Sleepy Wes here first before we get to the authority. Brad wakes up Wes.
We have a picture of Brad looking at Wes in the bunk bed for the podcast listeners.
Yeah. That's a good scene. I liked how he literally woke him up for this. Okay, this is it. Brad finally, he calls in Wes, and they have a conversation about it. He airs his grievances, like, hey, this plan that you put together, making Mark the winner of the daily, I don't like it because it turns out I put a sabotage on MJ twice, and he's probably going to pick me. What do you got to say about that, Wes? I've defended you this whole season, and now you pull this on me? What? And then Wes's response was unlike anything I expected, Joseph.
Yeah, Wes tells Brad that if Brad wants him to go in, that way Brad will stop bitching about this, then he'll do it. And it worked. And I think this was maybe a great move for Wes for this season, for future seasons. Like, this was good. I liked it. Like,
I did too.
For that reason.
Yeah. I actually think it was a great move. Like, he knows he's going to go against Yes. He's got to be the favorite. It's a calculated gamble. And also, even if this isn't about the game and is completely outside the game, his reasoning is totally fair. Like, hey, this is a real life friendship. I don't need this money that bad. Why not? Like, okay, sure. I'll just go in. It's just an elimination. Life is bigger than this.
And sometimes in life, your friends are wrong. You know what I'm saying? You hurt their feelings. They're wrong. But you still just suck it up and you do it anyway because they're your friend and you don't want to make them feel bad. And I think that was what Wes was doing
I don't,
here.
But yeah.
And I think, you could learn some things from Wes. And I think that Brad could also learn some things. And he, said after Wes that he was very appreciative of it and that, he's always going to remember this. And I do think that's genuine. I do think that, like, this is something that Brad can never, say Wes never did anything for him now. Like, this is like a big thing. Yeah. Like, he was going to go in and probably go home against MJ in this type of elimination.
Very possibly. Yeah, this is
not I'm sorry. Not to say that Brad couldn't win, because Brad's a great competitor.
No, not at all. Probably a toss up. Maybe they're both great. Definitely no safety assured in that situation. Yeah, I don't know what Wes could have done better here, honestly, except maybe just try to make the target yes, but like that's not totally up to him. Mark was seemingly going to put in MJ like the initial plan was. I'm not totally sure how it all got on MJ that quickly. I'm also not sure how Jordan didn't even enter the conversation as someone to put in, because again, they should probably be trying to get Jordan out before the final at some point. Not sure how many more chances they're going to have, so I'm not totally sure why that didn't happen. Other than that, great move by Wes. Love it. He totally redeemed himself to Brad.
I mean, if you pick Jordan, he's going to pick somebody. He's probably going to pick Wes. Wes doesn't want that. I think, choosing yes was kind of the perfect choice in this situation. Of like, you get rid of somebody who is also a huge final threat, probably second to Jordan at this point, and who's always going to be gunning for you and trying to screw you over.
Yeah. Can't go wrong. No brainer. So we already talked about the authority. Again, nothing happens there. They both pick the people offered up. It's going to be Jonna instead of Beth because Jonna wanted to be the one making the choice and not the other way around for some reason. Okay, whatever. Sure. Fine. So then we go to the elimination, and this is an interesting one. What do you think of this one? Knockoff.
I think it had potential. I don't know how you workshop it to make it better. I do think there is an idea there. But yeah, it didn't make really for compelling television. I don't know if it was the way it was filmed or edited, or it just internally flawed. But yeah, it didn't do that much for me.
Eternally flawed. Yeah. I felt similarly. As soon as I saw it, I was like, can you just kind of hide in the cracks? And like, I don't know. It felt like it was going to be a marathon. And we didn't really get that, like, boom, someone knocked off the podium moments. I mean, I don't know. Maybe yes going down was cooler than it looked. It didn't look that cool. It kind of just looked like he was like dragged to his death over the course of an hour. Not any
it looks
exciting
fine.
moment.
It looks fine, but I don't think it was how they expected it to be.
They're talking about it. I'm boring myself right now. I don't know why I'm even talking about this elimination.
Yeah. So Jonna starts cheating in the challenge.
There she goes again, Joseph. Allegedly.
And so she's doing the challenge, and what I'm talking about is MJ and pretty much everybody else is like throwing directions in Jonna's direction, giving her the exact formula to beat Beth. I don't know why Beth didn't use that formula to then do a counter strategy and do everything against what they were saying. That might have helped her if she used it in that way. But Beth got pretty frustrated. It seemed like it was like it seemed like an even battle, but like with this type of challenge, do you really know? Like, you know what I mean? No. Eventually, Beth just kind of gave up, like she does, and is like, "Oh, y'all are all cheating," and and I get it. That is frustrating, and I would be super frustrated too as a competitor. But that's the moment where you're like, "Fuck this, fuck them. I'm gonna win despite that. Like I'm gonna win." Even though they're all helping her, and I'm gonna look even more badass when I win.
Yeah.
She doesn't have that gear in her. She has the gear of like, this is a lost cause. She's afraid of heights too, so I'm sure that didn't help. And
I think that was
bring a quitter back on, she quits again.
Yeah, the heights thing I think is the main reason. I think she kind of alluded to that. TJ said heights got the best of you at the end, and Beth was like, "Yeah, I need to work on that this offseason. I'm gonna do that totally." Yeah, Beth is clearly if she was actually that bothered to quit because of people yelling directions in Johnny's directions, as you said, then she's clearly never played sports and played an away game in her life, because like that's just when you have to shut up the crowd and win, like you said. This is insane, dude. I'm so sick of it. Just stop bringing someone back who quits and quits and quits. I don't care what their value is. I don't care how interesting they are. Beth is great. I loved some aspects of Beth, but I just can't get over the quitting, the constant quitting. It's like it's so anticlimactic. And there's so many other people who would really love to be in that spot competing that it just doesn't feel right to have someone on there who you know is probably going to quit.
I agree. I'm over it. Has she even provided that many iconic moments? Like, she's been good. I'm not saying she's been bad, but like, is the juice really worth the squeeze here? Like, I don't think so. We've had so many injuries this season, and women going out for all sorts of different reasons that they had to bring her in as a replacement, and then she quits. Come on.
Okay, I do have comments on that, and I didn't screenshot anything to my chagrin, but do you want to hear a fun story about how Beth was actually cast this season?
Sure.
I'm such a terrible reporter. I don't even know who originally said this. It might have been Beth herself. Might have been Tina. I think it was one of the two of them. I believe Beth was actually supposed to be on the initial cast of this season, and she just wouldn't do it. Tina was fine with being on the same season with Beth. Beth would not go on as long as Tina was there. That's why at some point she just got cut last second, and then I think Sylvia was the replacement they brought in at the last minute to replace Beth because they would not agree with her demands to like remove Tina, like or not be on the show. Like they were like, okay, bye. And then so when Tina left, that's when they were able to bring Beth back in. Interestingly enough, once again, what's the point of this? I don't know. There's just this, she's a freaking diva, man, and will quit at the slightest notice, the breeze, the drop of the hat, and again, can do without it. Can do without a quitter.
Yep. I listened to her, or I didn't listen to it. I just read someone's comments about her IG live with Ruthie that she did, and there's really nothing of intrigue.
Great, thanks for that. So, Wes versus Yes. This picture cracks me up, dude. Oh my god,
this is good.
I love when Wes jumps off.
After he jumps off in victory. It's like a video game character, a superhero or something.
Yeah, he redeemed himself, I think, and in more ways than one. Wes, another elimination win. It was over, yes, but like still nice to remind people, like, hey, I still got it.
Hey, he's a champion.
He's a
show some respect.
I mean, he's a champion who was 0-0 in eliminations leading up to this, so I don't know how impressive that is. But nonetheless,
0 for 1.
What do you make of this matchup? I did not expect Yes to talk so much shit nonstop during this elimination.
He's got a hate boner for Wes, man. He's got it out for this guy.
Yeah, that is Mario, by the way. Sorry, go on.
And it seemed like he really screwed himself in this elimination through his pure hatred. The thing that is the most far removed from his personality. He tried to embrace that side of himself, and it didn't work. That's not you, bro.
Yeah, it's not. He should have stuck with what worked in season 1, dude. He should have simply been nice to everybody and like genuinely nice and not made enemies. And not been like this beacon. What did he say to TJ? I said at the start of the podcast, he was like just trying to nurture a beacon of fairness or something like that. What the fuck does that mean, dude?
I thought that was a joke. I thought he was going to laugh after he said it. And then I'm like, oh, he's fucking serious. And then I love TJ following up with how do you really feel?
Yeah. Thank you, TJ.
Wes being like, even TJ knows you're full of shit.
Seriously, dude. Like, what? Who is this guy? Maybe that's just him. Okay, maybe that is genuinely how he feels. I don't know. It just sounds like the phoniest thing ever.
I think Yes is a good dude.
Yeah.
I could see him getting on not anybody's nerves, but it seems like maybe the confidence too from winning the first season combined with him already being like a super diplomatic person, and he just he has this, I don't know, maybe he's just more arrogant now. I don't know
what it is either, man. I don't know.
Cocky. Hopefully this humbled him.
It's weird. I will say again that he probably is a great guy by all accounts. Like Veronica loves him.
Yes, is a good guy.
TJ calls him a great guy in real life. We know Wes doesn't like him right at this point now. Yeah. Wes is perturbed by the hypocrisy of some of the things he says. Sure. I think for us, he's not the character that we like to see on a show like this. He just seems really holier than thou this season. about the game. Like, we're all adults here. We're all going to play like a grown-up game for the
Yeah.
most part. It's like, dude, you're on the challenge. What do you think you're on? Like Mother Teresa's X Factor, like of helping
This is the
people? Like,
Olympics, bro.
bad example, bad example. But like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
but
freaking challenge, dude. Like, get over it. It's a politicking game. So that was the biggest thing that kind of annoyed me about him this season. But probably a great guy.
to balance it out a little bit, I did have a comment with Wes, or I did have a problem with Wes's comment in the daily against Yes, where he's like, if Yes is so honorable, why doesn't he just throw a ring on everybody's thing?
Yeah, that was
instead of,
stupid.
like,
That was so
turning
dumb.
on mine? I'm like, you really expect him to do that? Like, what are you talking about? You listen to yourself right now?
That's grasping
You hear
for
me?
something, for sure.
Yeah, come on, Wes.
Speaking of Wes,
We like you.
Wes had a subtweet. This is the one tweet that I grabbed. His tweet says, "This is a subtweet. I don't accept private apologies for internationally televised mistakes." Wonder who he's talking about there. Wonder if this happened. I wonder a lot of
Is
things.
this Yes?
Yeah. That's it. That's the tweet. Wes wins. He wins this battle of good versus evil. Again, not sure which one's which. Still, I'm not sure at this point in time.
And Wes just keeps with the strategy of calm, cool, collected. He's great in eliminations for that reason. He's always good at thinking on his feet and stuff like that. And it was kind of enjoyable. Yes's shit talking strategy kind of come back to bite him because the West could hear him through the wall and know exactly where his face was for him to pound on.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. I liked how that backfired so hard.
And he is the worst shit talker in the history of competitive sports.
How dare you? How dare you, Joseph?
You stink, man. You suck balls, bro.
I don't even know what he was saying, so
I don't know what he was saying either, but it just was like, it was just lame. It was just like, dude,
like,
stop.
yeah, you like that? You like that?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, suck on that, motherfucker. Like, he was just saying stuff that just did not sound within character at all.
Well, I think his problem was they were basically like playing chess. Like, it was like someone playing chess and yelling those things out. It's like, dude, you're just like locked there. You're just standing there on this platform. Nothing cool is happening whatsoever. And he's just saying all these things.
You're just moving your pawns around, bro.
Yeah, dude. Like, if he said that after he like punched him in the face a couple times, if they were boxing, then that would make sense. But if you said that after you're like desperately clinging onto this circle for dear life, like, that doesn't make that much sense, and it doesn't seem that cool.
Yeah.
And Wes is just like, okay, I'm still over here.
It seems like Yes would have more endurance than Wes, so it seems like he really wore himself out, just over extenuating himself.
I disagree with that. How many times have we seen slow-mo shots of Wes running on a treadmill this season, dude? That guy has been running for days, like literally days, in terms of footage.
Wonders if it's the same shot. And they're just like cutting it.
Probably is. Look, you know what I think? Actually, a serious answer to your question. I think this is like probably a lot of leg strength, but also you need the upper body strength too. You're like pushing those things in at like from like way far away from your body. Like, that's going to put a lot of pressure on your shoulders, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Your
Eric showing off his
obliques
muscles
or whatever.
in the video.
Dude, I'm training for the challenge. I'm training for the challenge. I would hope to build myself up to Yes's physique someday. I'm not quite there yet, but maybe someday.
I hope you don't get stuck in an elimination against Preston. That's where I really think you could run into issues.
That could be a nail biter. Okay. Anything else, Joseph, that we missed this episode?
No, I think we covered it all. Bad challenges, infidelity, cheating in the elimination.
Despicable cheating going on. Yeah, just disgusting.
I really hate cheaters in the challenge. It's bad.
Again, can you clarify that? When you say in the challenge, you mean in the elimination, or you mean in the show, The Challenge?
I mean, specifically in the eliminations.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Yeah.
What else would I be?
Who knows?
So was there even anything in the preview for the next episode?
Nope.
Did somebody else cheat on somebody?
Yes, there was one thing. Did you peep the puzzle that they lifted from Survivor and featured in the next episode?
No, I didn't.
It's
maybe I did and forgot.
So, do you remember the one that Michelle won? Spoilers. Michelle won
Oh no.
2 challenges.
That she kicked?
2 of the same challenges. Yeah. The ones that she kicked or punched or whatever. The ones where you like stack a bunch of different things to make like a bunch of layers, and then you put a circle on top, and then you make another bunch of columns, and then you put another circle on top of. Well, they took that and they turned the circle into a star, but otherwise it's the exact same thing. So they're not just taking players from Survivor, they're taking the challenges too now. And you know what?
And the challenges from Survivor aren't great.
but like
we complain about that all the time.
Better than ring toss. So like that's probably a good move by MTV, taking them from Survivor. Smart thinking. You're clearly out of ideas, so might as well steal.
One spoiler for the cast for season 38, just one person. Michelle's going to be on there. And man, if they have that challenge during the challenge while she's on, it's game over.
It's everyone just pack up and go home. Don't even play. When she did on Survivor, like that's not even a joke. She was so far behind from the physical component, and then both times she just like did the puzzle in 2 seconds while everyone was just like in slow motion next to her. So
and then on another season, she won that exact same challenge.
Yeah, same fashion,
Literally.
Same fashion. Last to the puzzle, and then just blew everyone away. It's the weirdest thing. It's like her mind is like a beautiful mind. It's like the guy from that movie, except just with that puzzle. And
if you just watched the challenge, you would have no idea how amazing Michelle Fitzgerald is. You would have no clue.
You wouldn't. Yeah, she didn't look as amazing. She did on Survivor sometimes. Okay, enough Michelle fandom. I hope we get to talk about her all next season of the challenge, but that's not what we're here for now. Joseph, this was fun. Thank you for being here. Everyone, thank you for listening. As always, consider subscribing or liking this podcast, and maybe even leaving a review if you liked it so that we can talk about it and feature it on the podcast. I'll be honest, I haven't looked at all. There might be reviews, but if you did leave one, I'm on it next time. I promise. I'll read it out there. They didn't. Okay, great.
But yeah.
Good.
If you're listening to just if you're just listening to the podcast version of this, why don't you guys join us on the video cast? We're going to be here every Thursday at 6 p.m. sharp to recap the challenge. We'd love to get your guys' comments and opinions, telling me and Eric how dumb we are, how judgmental we are, and hateful and spiteful against these people. We need to be challenged because this is a podcast about the challenge.
Think about how ugly some of our comments are, and then just wonder, how ugly are they physically in person? Well, there's only one way to find out, by going to our channel, Hello Reality, and clicking subscribe. That's the only way that you'll find that out. So
they're like thinking to themselves like, man, these guys must be really beautiful and handsome and good looking to criticize these people. And no, we're just normal guys.
All right, that'll do it. I gotta go. Time to get out of here. Goodbye. Thanks for listening.
Bye, guys. It's been enjoyable. See ya.
All right. I have